Good day, students. My name is Onika Tandiwe Machege. Again today, we are going to continue where we left. This is a very last learning unit that we are going to cover, learning unit 6. So these are the objectives of learning unit 6. The title of learning unit 6 is about a business startup, how to set up a business startup. These are the objectives that you need to go through. After we have gone through these objectives, you will be understanding on how to set up the business. What are the steps that you need to take when you set up the business? First of all, when you set up the business, there are legal regulations that you need to look at. There are factors that affect the choice of the business or the form of enterprise that you're going to start. In South Africa, we've got different forms of ownership. We've got sole proprietorship, partnership, private company, and public company, and cooperatives. So when you start a business, you need to choose among those forms of ownership. So when you choose, you need to look at these factors. The first one is legal jurisdiction. This refers to whether or not the venture has a legal independent personality that can own assets on its own name, that can conclude contracts and also sue and be sued on its own name. So when you choose the form of ownership, you again need to look at the liability of the owner. Who is liable for the debts? This is closely concerned with the previous aspects of refers to whether or not the owner can be held responsible or liable for the outstanding debts and the claims against its venture. And lastly is, the third one is to the extent to which the owner has direct control on the form of ownership. So these factors assist you to choose the form of ownership where you know that you will be able to adhere to the regulations of that form of ownership. So the other aspect that you have to look at the possibility of change. If you choose this form of ownership, are you able to change it or are you not able to change it? So all these legal regulations is going to assist you to choose the appropriate form of ownership. The legal requirements regarding the establishment, management, and the dissolution of the business venture. This includes the requirement of professional associations such as engineers, architects, medical professions, and other, as well as the tax liability of the venture and its owner. So when now you have generated your business ideas, we have screened your business ideas, and we have turned your business ideas to business opportunity, and you have made up a mind that you want to start a business, then you need to choose the form of ownership. So the factors that I've already explained, they assist you when choosing the form of ownership. So this is a repetition of the forms of ownership that I have already mentioned: sole proprietorship, partnership, private company, public, and close corporation. But you should know that as from 1st of May in 2011, there's no provision for the registration of a new close corporation. So the government have cancelled or closed the registrations of close corporations, where you can alternatively register the private company instead of close corporation. So the business must register with the following. You have to register with a receiver of revenue with SARS, where now we have chosen the form of ownership. Either we have chosen the sole proprietorship or the partnership. Because when you are in a sole proprietorship, that means you are reliable for everything. In partnership, you are jointly and severally reliable for the debts of the business. And if it happened that the business cannot cover its debts in partnership and sole proprietorship, that means they are going to take your private possessions. That is why most of the people previously, they chose to establish the close corporation. Nowadays, they are establishing the private company, because in private company, the business must pay for its own debts. They don't take your personal particulars. So once you have registered with SARS for the business, you still need to register for unemployment insurance fund, where you contribute a certain percentage, and your employee contributes a certain percentage. If it happens that your employees are not employed, or you retrench them, they can go to the Department of Labor and claim for the unemployment insurance fund until they get employment. The other one is the Workmen's Compensation Commissioner. This is a compensation act that an employer needs to register, where you register and contribute a certain percentage If your employees get injured within the scope of their employment, they need to claim depending on the danger or depending on the injuries that they got from the employment. And you have to register with the local authority where you will be paying tax and rates and water and electricity. Lastly, you need also to register with the Department of Trade and Industry. So the business must comply with the General Industrial and Commercial Legislation and the Occupational Health and Safety Act number 85 of 1993. So when you set up a business, you need to look at the factors of the business, which are business functions. Now we have set up the business, we have complied with regulations where we have registered with SARS, registered with Unemployment Insurance Fund, Workmen's Compensation Act, Labor Act. There are other acts which I didn't mention here, Skills Development Act, Wage Act, the Employment Equity Act. All those acts, they assist you in running up your business. So inside the business, we've got a business function. The first one is marketing. So in marketing, we answer the questions, where are we, where do we want to be, and how we get there? How do we exercise control in the organization? So marketing function has to do with marketing communication, where you sell your product to your customers. So you need to know the Consumer Protection Act so that when you undergo your business, you don't violate the consumer's rights. And you need to look at the forms of communication where you communicate your products and your services to your customers. Which forms of communication are you going to follow? You consider the best form of communication in marketing your business. When you market your product and services, consider where and how your competitors advertise and how they market their business, so that you know the platforms that they are using, whether they are effective or not. And you consider this, or you would consider the same channel of advertising your product and your services. So what is crucial again when coming to your business, you must have your own name when you market, your logo and your motto for you to be able to attract the attention of your customers. So again, we've got the public relation function within the business. Normally, when you start a business, this is the last function that you can add within your organizational structure, because the business, first of all, have to have the production. If you are doing your production, irrespective whether it's a product or you are rendering a service, you must have production processes that you have. Then from there, you must have the marketing department, as I've explained. After the marketing department, the financial department. So the PR department, you add it when the business has grown, and you use it to promote the image of your business and the image of the business as a whole. And its goal is to include creating goodwill and understanding, acceptance of cooperation within those who are affected or likely to be affected by the business. So the PR function deals with the external stakeholders and make sure that the image of the organization is being protected. So because the organization have been selling products and services to the community, so the organization, they tend now to have the social responsiveness to the community that was purchasing products and services to them by offering them maybe bursaries or sponsoring charity organization. So the public relation is there to boost the image of an organization and responsible for social responsiveness towards the community, towards the environment, and towards the stakeholders that they are working with. Information and record systems. Nowadays, organizations have to record information within an organization. Records of relevant information must be kept to develop an effective and user-friendly record-keeping systems, because there's a lot of valuable information that you need to record and keep within an organization. And some of the information is the secret traits of the organization. Some of the information could be about the assets of an organization, or could be about the employees, the processes, the procedures that they are following. All that should be kept. Nowadays, it's not only kept in files, but is kept in systems. There are systems, IT systems, that can be used to keep the information. So the information and the record system function is a new function that have been added in an organizational structure that is helping an organization. Then, of course, we've got the financial function. Financial function is responsible for financing and managing the finances within the organization. Develop a basic systems and appoint an external bookkeeper or accountant. Draw up specific cash budgets. Make a good relationship with the banks, insurance, and establish credit worthiness and keep up with dates with the economic affairs. So the financial function is very crucial in an organization, because when you have sold your products or rendered the service, you need to record. You need someone who've got an accounting background to be able to record those transactions in accounting books. These days, there are financial systems that are used, unlike before when they record in cash receipt journals and cash payment journals. Now there are systems that they use to record the finances of the business. And it's very important to be able to manage the finances of the business. For the business to be successful, it needs to manage their financial affairs, and that is done by people who've got the background of accounting and cost management accounting. And when you manage your finances effectively and efficiently, you establish the credit worthiness with your suppliers. So it's very important now that you have started your business and you are looking at your organizational structure, and when coming to finance, you make sure that you employ people who really have a sound background of accounting to be able to manage your finances within your organization. Then the other one is human resource management. Human resource management has to plan, has to deal with the staffing requirements and ensure that your organization appoint sound and consider the following: to draw up a list of all tasks that must be performed. That is job description. It is the responsibility of a human resource or officer to draw a job description that pertains the duties that the people need to do within an organization, and to draw a job specification as well, to know exactly what are the qualities that you want from that person who's going to apply for the job, to know their abilities and to know their knowledge and their skills, whether they will be able to carry out the task that you're going to give them. So you need to scrutinize their qualifications as well and their references. So groups of tasks that can be performed by a specific person, but that specific person have to have qualifications and skills that are needed to be performed. So in a nutshell, HR has to do with staffing requirements, where you employ people, where you interview people, where you appoint or reject people. After appointment, you need to do organizational orientation, where you induct these new employees, and from there you need to train them. After training, you need to perform the performance management and the performance appraisal for them to know exactly what are their expectations, whether they've met the expectations or they are below the expectations. By doing that, you will be helping an organization irrespective of where are these people going to work. Some of them, they can work in a public relations function or department, they can work in marketing department, they can work in production department, or they can work in purchasing department. But the HR is responsible for the employment of the employees for all the departments. So all the departments need to provide HR with a job description and job specification, and therefore the HR will take the task of recruiting those people, interviewing them, and accepting or rejecting them. Purchasing function is part of the organizational structure, and consider to negotiate with the suppliers for better prices, because a purchasing function is responsible to buy the goods or the raw material that an organization needs in order to operate their business. So they need to compare suppliers, only not items to price, but also in terms of quality and their services, because the purchasing function must be able to provide an organization with the right products at the right time and at the right price. And as a purchasing department, you need to keep the stock to a minimum and to control your stock properly. You need to be careful not to become too dependent on a single supplier, because some suppliers can close down, or some suppliers can increase price which you do not afford. So it's very important for you to be able to identify the suppliers that are going to supply your organization with whatever that you need, whether it's raw material or it's fixed assets, and you must make sure that there's no harm in increasing the price and the service competitors between your suppliers, because suppliers can increase the price because you are not the sole purchaser or the buyer from them. They have got other companies which are your competitors who are buying from them. And then you need to cultivate a good relationship with your suppliers, because that's where you get your products, that's where you get your material. So if your suppliers are supplying you with a good quality, at the right time, with good quantity, so you will be able to operate your business efficiently and effectively. Then the other one is operation functions. So you must consider a lot of planning of machine and equipment supplies and maintenance of control, capital investment, and the best use of all the laborers that you have trained within an organization, and secure the expert design and knowledgeable layout of your production facilities, and control and make sure that there's cost control that ensures the profitable organization of your the profitable operations of your organization. So in a nutshell, an operation function has to deal with the systems and the processes and the layout of your organization. So it's part of the function of the business. In other businesses that are manufacturers, they call it the production function. But operation functions can be implemented whether you are doing production or you are rendering a service. So it's very important that you do all the management tasks when you lay out your operation functions, to make sure that you plan, you organize, and you make all the controls that are needed within an organization. You can do the pre-control, you can do the concurrent control, and you can do the post-control when you do your operations functions. So as now you have identified this idea which you are going to pursue, make sure that you understand how to do the operations functions, because an operation function is a core business activity. That's where now you are doing your business. Unlike other supporting business structures, like the marketing department is supporting the operation functions, the HR is supporting as well, the public relation is supporting. So the operation functions is the one that is busy doing the operations. Must make sure that you maintain your machines, whatever that you are using for you to do the production of an organization. So what you need to consider again in operation functions is inspection and operational procedure are control measures. So make sure that you inspect all your machines and you inspect all your products or your raw material that you are going to use. Manage your production time. All the bottlenecks offered and where specialized labor and the expensive equipment is involved need to be managed. And sometimes you'll find that some organizations cannot conduct operations totally, so they would outsource some other functions of production processes to other people who are going to do business for them. So for what you can do, make sure that you inspect everything that you do. You make sure that you don't produce inferior products or there's defects. Make sure that you produce the products that are ready to be purchased by your customers. Because if it happened that there's mass production and we have made some mistake, that is going to incur a lot of costs for an organization. And it's very important that you always manage your production time so that you use your time effectively and efficiently. So then thereafter, we've got someone who's managing the entire organization, the general management. This is an entrepreneur who will be able to manage all the tasks within an organization. An entrepreneur is someone who's creative and innovative, who is able to identify business opportunities, use the scarce resources in order to start a business and manage the business. So in general management, we've got an entrepreneur, someone who's got a vision, and we've got the manager who is involved in day-to-day activity and who is responsible for the effectively coordination of the business function. So that means the manager, the entire manager or the CEO of an organization must make sure that all the mentioned business functions are effectively managed. All the mentioned PR, public relations, marketing, purchasing functions, marketing function, and financial function are managed effectively. So now that you know the business functions, now you need to know where are you going to locate your business. You must have reasons where you are going to locate your business. So you need to choose a place where you are going to locate your business. Most of the businesses, they locate their business where there's market. By market, we are referring to the customers, the people that are going to buy your products or your services. So this one is going to depend on the type of the business that you are in. Some people are in an industrial business. They produce for them to be able to produce other products. They tend not to be closer to the market. But we've got those who are producing or who are rendering service to the immediate users or customers. Then they tend to be next to the customers. Then you need to locate where you can access the raw material to save costs. Some of the people who are fishing industry, some of them, they've got their depot nearer to the sea so that they don't travel a long distance for them to access their material. And some of the people, they tend to locate their business where they can access human resource or labor. Because in other provinces in South Africa, like Mpumalanga and Limpopo, you'll find that most of the people who are supposed to work, they don't have the skills and knowledge. They are not educated. And that is why the Gauteng province is congested with a lot of people. People flock to Joburg because there you get a lot of people who are educated. You will be able to attract people who've got skills and who've got abilities and who've got good qualifications depending on the product and the service that you will be producing and the type of the industry that you are in. And some people, when they locate their business, they look at costs. When you go to other provinces who are not well developed, the costs are low, though the market is not there. And some, they look at the climate. So if maybe people want to engage in agriculture, they won't go to the desert. They will go to an area where they know that the climate is good for agricultural business. That is why most of the people who are in agriculture, they will prefer Nelspruit, Mpumalanga province, and they will prefer Limpopo province, where the soil is fertilized for them to do the business. And the other things that they look at is the regional incentive programs, where within the regions there are other incentive programs where the business can be able to tap in so that they can be successful. And they look at the services around the area, whether they like the services around the area. And lastly, they look at personal and social consideration. If you start a business and you are a newlywed couple, you would, of course, need to locate your business nearer to schools, nearer to shopping centers. So some people, when they locate their business, they look at their personal preferences and they look at the social consideration. You don't want to locate your business where there's political instabilities, there's fight, there's strikes, which are going to affect your business. So these are the factors that you can consider. A few factors that I have just identified that you can consider when you want to locate your business. But you can look at other factors if you want to locate your business, other than the one that I mentioned here. This is the end of Learning Unit 6. Thank you so much.